We'll begin with a reign of terror. A few murders here and there.
Welcome back to the Swearwolves. I'm Brett. Today we're going to do a little bit of an unboxing. Now I got a different setup going on here. I just wanted to try something new. I got two cameras. I got the one that I'm looking into right now and the one that is overhead. Now the one that's overhead is looking down upon this. This is the Bride of Frankenstein, the NECA Bride of Frankenstein. This is the ultimate figure that just came out. This figure, I have been waiting for this figure for quite a while. I'm going to throw a company under the bus real quick. That company is Entertainment Earth. Entertainment Earth, maybe you've had good luck with them in the past. Maybe I have ordered from them in the past and gotten stuff, but I'm going to tell you right now, I pre-ordered my Bride of Frankenstein months ago. Months ago I pre-ordered this, and it still hasn't come in through Entertainment Earth. I also pre-ordered the NECA Ultimate Phantom figure. Also hasn't come in. Spoiler alert, I got both of them. This is going to be another video. My point is, I went down to a local store that sells figures, and they had both of these figures in. I haven't seen them at Target. I know some people have seen them at Target. I haven't seen them at every store that I've been to, but if you go to like a local specialty shop, a brick and mortar shop, odds are good you'll find them there. Waiting on Entertainment Earth. They still, if you go on their website, it's still in pre-order status. I think Bride of Frankenstein is expected now to ship out in July. I even wrote them and was like, hey, just curious as to what's going on with this order, because I see that other people have gotten this figure. Because, you know, on Instagram or YouTube, I see that people have unboxed this figure and found it. And I was just like, what's going on here? So I don't know if the relationship with NECA, like how many pre-orders they've got, if NECA can't supply them. I don't know what's going on with that, but they don't have these figures yet. Entertainment Earth, a bigger company that deals with the sales of collectible figures, doesn't even have this yet. So that's my little, I'm going to step off the soapbox here real quick. So needless to say, I canceled those pre-orders. I still have other stuff pre-ordered through Entertainment Earth, and their customer service, I want to say this, their customer service was really good. I have no problems with the company. What I have a problem with is that when not every other, but when there's a lot of other places that are getting this figure, why aren't they getting it on time? So there's some kind of disconnect between NECA, Entertainment Earth, because if NECA is able to supply the smaller shops, why aren't they able to supply the bigger shops? That is beside the point. Let's get on to the figure. Other people have opened this figure and unboxed this figure and reviewed this figure, so I'm not reinventing the wheel here. This is something that I just got, so I thought I would post it. And I wanted to try out this new 2-camera setup here that I have. So let's talk about the packaging. I love this packaging. I liked it on the other NECA Ultimates for the Universal Monsters. It's kind of a replica of the movie poster. And I know some of my lighting is kind of blue, so you'll see a blue glare right there. But this is a kind of glossy finish, and then there's a matte finish in the background. So the bride and the monster here are in glossy, and then of course the Bride of Frankenstein right here is in glossy, and then behind it is this matte finish. It just looks really sharp. I really like this for display purposes. I think this will look awesome. On the side here we have a picture of the figure itself. This is the colored version of the figure, if I haven't said that yet. The black and white figure hasn't come out yet. I think that comes out, well, according to Entertainment Earth, it comes out in October, so that means it'll probably come out in August. On the back side, we have more images of the figure itself. This, of course, was Elsa Lanchester playing the role of the Bride of Frankenstein. We'll talk about that a little bit more, but this is a good likeness of her right here, in figure form, I should say. Says the Bride of Frankenstein includes bandages, removable gown, 2 pairs of hands, and 3 interchangeable heads. Side of this box is her in her bandages. So we got her in the gown and with the hair all crazy, and then her in the bandages. Like all the Ultimate figures, we got a cover that is Velcroed shut and it flips open. And we'll talk about the figure right here in a second, but we got an image of the figure full-bodied. Looks really good. And then, of course, we got the figure itself. right here beyond the plastic that's covering it. If you're just going to display this, I would say that this looks great for display purposes. It just looks really good. So why don't we go ahead and open this up. I got my trusty knife here to cut this open. Some people out there are like, oh my God, why do you open your figures? You know what? Not all of them do I open. I have a bunch of carded figures right behind me here on the wall. Those don't have pins through them or anything. They are set up in such a way, because I got a slanted wall, I had to develop a way. Sometime I'll do a video on it, but I had to develop a way to prop them up. So they're kind of inset in a push pin. So the push pin isn't going through the plastic or anything. It's just resting on it, and then another one rests on the top. So I'll show that at another time. But anyway, I have a lot of packaged 8-inch cloth, retro cloth figures, and then some Migos there that I haven't opened. Some rarer figures that I'm never going to open. All right, so with that out of the way, we have the Bride right here. Let's go ahead and take this top plastic off. So, a little bit more difficult. There's a rubber band right here and a rubber band right here that's causing this to not be able to be opened. There's another one right here. They really do package this particular figure really quite well. Quite different than they've packaged in the past, but I appreciate it. All right. So let's just pop out. We got some different hands here. We got some bandages. These bandages are always weird. I noticed that with the mummy figure, the bandages that just kind of go around the wrists and just kind of hang there. I don't know. Not a huge fan of that. This is for her face. Sometimes I have to trying to figure out what all these accessories are is the hardest part. One head, two heads. The bride herself. The bride herself is right here. Oh, wow. That's going to be quite delicate. All right. Go ahead and stand her up out of the way for a second. Put all this away. Okay. Putting that aside. Put that up here. I love the movie Bride of Frankenstein, by the way. It's a really good movie. I like Frankenstein, the original, but the Bride of Frankenstein is, back to back. Cut out the stuff where Mary Shelley is talking at the beginning of Bride of Frankenstein, and you can just watch it as one long-ass movie, and it's really good. Really good movie. Okay, so let's talk about the figure itself. Before we get to the figure, though, of course, let's talk about the accessories that we got. We got a couple of hands here, a couple of bandaged hands that have the fingers more spread out. These look really good. Very mummy-esque hands. They're in bandages, so that looks good. We got the hands. We got these bandages. These are just soft rubber bandages, like I said. Like, you hang it from the figure's wrist, and it just looks like the bandages are just hanging off there. Again, I'm not necessarily a huge fan of that. More pieces to lose. The Mummy, I know, came with a couple of those things that you just kind of drape on, and I personally not a big fan, but whatever. This is a hard molded, well, harder, it's still soft, molded rubber piece that is a bandage, and it looks like it fits right over the top of her other head here. So you can see right there, that would make it look like, her face is covered, and then you got this, which reveals her eyes. So that's kind of nice. Kind of a cool look right there. And then you have this alternate head. This head right here is bandaged, just revealing the eyes. It's got this new type of post here I haven't opened a figure in a long time, so maybe they've been using this for a while, but it's got this square post. So maybe that'll be easier to take the head on and off. But it is just on a ball joint here and just swivels back and forth, turns all the way around. But there is one of the alternate heads. I wish this camera would focus better. There's got to be a sweet spot for this, huh? It's too focused on my ugly face. There it is. So the face looks pretty good. Well, the bandages look pretty good. It's got some staples there at the top, but all around, pretty good attention to detail on that. Then we got this other alternate head. Now this is the famous shot, of course, when the bride first sees the monster. Right away, when she first sees the monster. Not right away, but when she sees the monster, the monster comes over to her and wants to befriend her, right? Because that's the whole point, is the monster wants a friend or a girlfriend. And she sees him and she is, he's hideous to her, so she screams. Monster gets all pissed off, spoiler alert, and destroys the castle, everything in it. Now, here's the thing about the Bride of Frankenstein. The bride, iconic figure. Love the image of the bride. The actual bride is in this movie for, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes at the end. If that, 5 minutes at the end. They unveil her. You see her. Frankenstein's monster goes batshit crazy, destroys the castle, burns everything down. End of movie. Never see the bride again. Anyway, this is the alternate head here, and I'll throw some still shots or some other shots of this so you can see it up close. But it's got the bride screaming like she would when she sees the monster for the first time. Again, just a really good likeness in the face. There's some great attention to detail. You got the hair, the white squiggles going up the side of this. I don't even know what you would call it. I mean, like, who has a hairdo like this? This is quite the, maybe because she got electrocuted, her hair is all, but I mean, it's an iconic look for sure. But scars on her face, underneath her chin. Just even the glossiness of the tongue, and the mouth with the teeth, and the eyes are really good too. I really like the paint on the eyes. Add some life to this. And then, like, this is going to sound kind of weird, but the softness of the paint that's on her neck makes it look more real, like skin. Just the paint job is just great on this. Now, this figure is, of course, in color. The movie wasn't in color, but the black and white version of this figure is going to look awesome. Like, it's going to look great next to the black and white Frankenstein, which is another figure that I haven't opened yet, oddly enough. All right, so let's look at the figure itself. We have this gown on her, which, much like Dracula's cape on the Ultimate Dracula, it's got some weight to it, which I think, you know, the prices of these figures have gone up. Part of that is the materials that they're using. The weight just helps the cape just flow and float and move around quite nicely. So I think that just looks, it feels a lot different. It feels really good, and it gives it some I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but some body, some weight to it. So it's not, so sometimes in these figures, especially like older figures like from the 70s or whatever that had cloth, like the Migos, the cloth is so small that it becomes stiff. This is a whatever type of cloth this is, like a spandex or a rayon, or I don't even know what the hell this is, but it has some weight to it, so you can pose it and move it around, and it doesn't look like it's just a miniaturized version of a swatch of cloth. So I really do like that. You know, looking back at the head again, the detail in the face, of course she's got the closed mouth here, but she still looks great, just beautiful with the scars painted on there, and again the hair in that crazy electrified hairdo. This came untied right out of the box. I'm gonna leave it that way. I don't know if it should be tied in a bow or something. But there's this stitching in the back here that I don't really want to mess with. Got some, typical movement. The arms move out and in, back and forth. They move at the elbow. There's only one elbow joint on this. And then her hands just move back and forth, and at the wrist, they move in and out. Head turns on the ball socket, like we said with the previous figures. She can't really look up too much, but, do you need her to look up? But the head doesn't go back because the hairdo is blocking catching on the neck back there. Underneath the gown, she's just got these bandages, like I had said. And the detail of the bandages looks pretty good. The gown itself is what sells it for me, much like Dracula's cape. It's pretty awesome. She stands okay. I mean, I just was able to put her up, and she stands pretty good. So shouldn't have a hard time. Of course, I always keep my figures on stands when I'm displaying them, because all too often, you get anybody who walks by, but primarily me, just walks by, give it a little nudge on the table or whatever, and on the shelf, and it just falls over. And the last thing you want, I have a couple of Detolf cabinets, and the last thing you want is for one figure to fall over in there, and then it causes all of them, and then you open the door and they all fall out at you. But overall, I really do love this figure. I think it's a great figure. See, it just fell. I can't wait for the black and white version of this figure, though. It's going to look fantastic, and I think I would highly recommend anybody to go get this. Again, like I said, if you've pre-ordered it from Entertainment Earth, you probably haven't gotten it yet, but if you go down to a local comic book store or a place that sells toys, a local toy store, mom and pop brick and mortar store, you're probably going to find it. Could also find these at Target. I've seen a couple of pictures where people have said, have taken a photo of the NECA section at Target, and she was there. So you could get lucky. This gets 5 out of 5 Pamela Voorhees heads for me. I don't know about you guys, but I love the NECA Ultimate Universal Monster line of figures. And like I said, I got the Phantom of the Opera coming up in another review, and then of course Gilman is going to be coming out soon, which I'm excited about. So 5 out of 5 Pamela Voorhees heads. Go out and buy yourself a NECA Ultimate Bride of Frankenstein figure, the Bride, and that'll do it. Thanks for watching. If you like reviews like this and you want to see more, please leave a comment down below, subscribe, all that kind of good jazz, and we'll talk to you next time.